the toughest thing was hearing that it was time for everybody to part ways. Like it was a mutual agreement that, we weren't going to grow past what kind of the course that we ran. Mm-hmm. And I was respectful of that. I was respectful that, Winger and Will Dawkins, they were able to come and be super professional and just shoot it straight. Like, this is what we want to do. This is what we want for you, and I was beyond appreciative of that, and those guys working with me. Deciding a team was tough because, again, we had options. I loved Miami. I loved Milwaukee. Obviously, Phoenix, they were the dark horse. But, you had the Knicks. I love Sacramento's young team. I think there was one more. But those were like the gist of the teams. Right. Obviously, a lot of people inquired. Like other teams, like everybody was like, oh, do we have a chance? Like, can we get in? And some obviously I'm here now, but I shot a lot down, but there were a lot that I had to consider. But the decision wasn't easy. It wasn't at all, like, because obviously a team had to give up a lot to acquire me, and the last thing that I wanted to do was dismantle a team to the point to where we can't be competitive or we can't go help grow our team, and ironically, out of nowhere, here comes Phoenix, right? It's probably, honestly, it was between Miami and Milwaukee at one point. And Miami couldn't do it. Then all of a sudden I have to turn my attention to Milwaukee. And Milwaukee was close. They were almost deadline, like about to pull the trigger. And here comes Phoenix as a dark horse, just kind of out of nowhere. And Matt Ishbia, our owner, his pitch was unbelievable. And to hear, his basketball background and hear his passion, like his first move was getting KD, like as an owner. Like that's like you can tell, okay, no, I want to win, and I want to win in the worst way. And his next move was getting me. And so it's like, okay, I like his vision, right? And then the ultimate thing was booking KD signing off on it. Like K was asking me for years to leave Washington. Like K used to always joke about it, but he's been telling me for years, get out. But once Book signed off on it, like I knew for sure. Because one, me and Book competed. Like we played the same position in the league, and granted he was in the West, I was in the East, but we competed from afar and we respected each other's game. And at first I thought they were trading Book. And I'm like, how is this even going to work with money and players and all this? And they're like, no, we have a way to keep you three together. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And so I'm, just comparing and contrasting potentially the opportunity I'll have. Like Phoenix outweighed a lot of them. And so ultimately, again, once those two signed off and I met with Phoenix again, like it was kind of pulled the trigger, kind of was match made.
What have you learned so far under Frank Vogel and playing with KD and Book?
One, Frank Vogel is a no BS tolerated coach, and I love it. He's a player's coach. He gives you that vibe, but he takes no BS. Like he's a very defensive minded coach, and all of the teams that he's coached in years past, like he's won a ship with the Lakers, they've been top 3-4 defensively in rating. Like they're a top 4 team in defense. And so he takes pride in that, and he holds us all accountable in that fashion. Us, me, Kay, and Book, all the same way. Like everybody's held accountable in the same fashion. And that's what I like about him, so far. Like he's been great, right? And playing with Kay and playing with Book like that, I don't want to just sit here and say it's easy, but it's easy, because we just love to play the game. We make it, strictly about hoops. We make it about getting better. We make it about competing and pushing each other. But we understand that we each have very unique games, and we understand we don't get in the way of that. Like we allow each other to spread our wings and have fun and just compete. Like we all here for the same thing, and that's what I love about us. Like we just want to go win. We want to compete and hoop at the highest level.
What do you think is the big difference between Phoenix and Washington that you've noticed so far? You've only been here for 2 months, but
That's tough because every team has its differences, right? And it's tough for me because I've only been two places, right? But granted, they're both different and unique in their own ways and fashions. But here, there's like a different energy I have here, right? Versus in DC. Like I have a new, like profound energy being here in Phoenix. In DC it's very grit grind. Like it felt like, man, it felt like it was just like that much harder, like you had to work that much harder to make it work. And in Phoenix, like it's the same work. Like you're still working hard, but it's very comforting knowing that I got a lot of firepower to go to work with, and not just us three. Like we have a lot of firepower. So